What's going on, guys? Welcome back to your Lake Fork Guide. No fun music tonight. Um, some of you saw the rant video went on in the middle last week that, like, right as it happened with the Charlie Kirk assassination. We are going to talk about fishing tonight. We are going to try to have some fun in light of everything that's going on. We're going to try to, we're definitely going to give you guys some helpful advice. At the end of the day, fishing is my business, and the biggest tournament of the year at Lake Fork for bass fishing is upon us with Sealy Big Bass Splash coming up this weekend. So we are going to get into that. Got my good buddy Mike McFarland's going to join in here in a little while to help us out with that. Before we do, I want to talk about some of the things that I said the other day, and I want to talk about some of the things that have gone on. I said what I meant the other day, and I'm live on Facebook over here, live on Facebook right there, live on YouTube right there. So if I keep looking back and forth, I got two different cameras going. Man, I said what I meant, and based on the response in the comments, a lot of you guys felt similar type feelings and emotions that day, and I'm not backing off or apologizing for any of it. And I want to tell you something. That video is going to cost me. Like, I know it is. And it may cost me with business stuff, whatever. That'll shake out in the future. But I can assure you this. There's nothing that I've enjoyed more over the last few years than coaching my kids in youth sports. That's done because of the language I used. I wish that I had a way to fully express the amount of intensity that I felt in that situation and the amount of intensity that I feel in the sad direction that this country has gone without using that kind of language. I wish that I had the discipline to do that. And maybe that's the reason that maybe I shouldn't be coaching my kids in sports. But I can assure you, living in a small town in East Texas like I do, that I just gave up coaching my kids, which I didn't have much left to coach anyway. Look, they're both in school. And it's not even my kids. You know, I'll miss coaching my kids, but I'll miss coaching all of them. Like, I love it, dude. Like, I've been doing it for a long time. I love ball. Ball was my first love as a kid. I played lots of sports for a long time, and I'm going to lose that. And that's okay. I'm okay with that. I'm the same guy, and I'm not trying to get credit. I don't want anybody to say thank you for your service. That's not what I want. I did not sign up to be appreciated for my service. I signed up for the Marine Corps because I felt like it was the right thing to do at the time. And I felt led to do it by the Lord, honestly. And that's a whole other story we won't get into tonight. But I'm not backing down off those comments for anybody. I don't care what anybody thinks. I do wish that I wouldn't have used some of the language. I know at one point in that video, I said GD, which we've never said on the channel before. You know, there's some things on this earth, though, God does need to smite them. He does need to damn them. And what's going on in this country, there's some things that need damning by the highest power. I know it's a big no-no to say that in culture, especially in East Texas and God-fearing culture. There's some things that are extreme enough that need to be damned. And this is definitely one of them. And that is what went through my head in the moment, in the heat of the moment when I said it, was that this does need to be damned. This is that extreme. Here's the deal. The last video did get some attention from some people on the other side of the political beliefs. You're allowed to have whatever political belief you want to. In fact, if you want to come into this chat right now and comment some liberal stuff in a respectful way, you're free to do it. And if anybody harasses you, I will chastise them and I will kick them out of here if I have to. I will ban them from this channel if somebody comes at you for having a differing belief respectfully. That's where all my passion and anger is at, guys. Never will it be okay to resort to what they resorted to. It's never going to be allowed. I'm never going to approve of it. I promise you that. I will always call that out. There's many other things I should have done this on in the past. There's been plenty of political riots that I should have got this angry about, that I should have spoken out about. Here's the deal. I don't have the biggest platform. I got a little bit of one. Between all the platforms combined, that video was creeping up towards 200,000 views. That's not big in the grand scheme of things, but it's big enough that somebody might hear it that needs to hear it. Somebody on the left, listen, if you have democratic political beliefs, I'm fine with that. I agree with some of them. I'm not hardcore right wing, believe it or not. I know many of my viewers are in shock right now. I'm not all in hardcore white wing. I'm not all in hardcore Donald Trump's #1 fan. I do think he's done many, many good things as our president, many more than the other presidents that I've seen in my adult lifetime. I do think he's the best president I've seen in my adult lifetime. We could have that discussion. That's a whole nother video. Here's the deal. There's a difference between hate speech and speech that you hate. And for anybody from the left that catches this video, I hate a lot of your speech. I hate a lot of your speech. I don't hate it enough to harm a law-abiding citizen that's not hurting somebody else or their property. That's where my moral compass falls. If you're not hurting somebody else or their property, you don't deserve to be harmed yourself. Charlie Kirk certainly never did any of that. And he didn't even speak hate speech. Y'all can misconstrue it, take the quotes out of context all you want to. The man spoke for hundreds of thousands of hours, maybe millions of hours, on camera where you could dissect and pick apart whatever you wanted to, and you left-leaning idiots believe whatever you're told. How are you going to believe that this guy was right-wing? There's people commenting on the video I made last week trying to say that this guy was right-wing Republican. Now, why would a right-wing Republican kill Charlie Kirk? Do you not have any? That's the problem. Those that don't get it, they don't get it. And y'all assholes on the left don't fucking get it. And you're going to cause a serious problem in this country because I'm not the only one that feels this way based on the comments. And I can assure you that this has got me considering getting back in shape and preparing for the worst. I do not want any kind of violence in this country when it comes to that. Civil war, no, you don't want it. You know what we're doing this week? We're going fishing, and that is fantastic. And that's why America is still great in a lot of ways. But the fact that we tolerate and let this left-wing rhetoric continue to spew out of people's mouths and get put on our national news and influence young minds to do things like this is completely fucking unacceptable. We've got to put our foot down for that. It's unacceptable to allow this shit to continue. So many good things in this country. We are the greatest nation that's ever existed, but we are going down a path that is making us worse and worse, and I'm not sure that we are that anymore. It's not because I don't love it. You can love something and think that it needs some work, and it may not be the best it can be because it's certainly not. And it'll never be perfect. Just like I won't be perfect, and none of y'all will be perfect. But the shit that has gone on in this country has gone on for far too long when it comes to the political brainwashing that the media has conducted. If you want to know what's to blame for this, this is 1,000,000%. This particular incident is 1,000,000% at fault from our media. And the clickbait bullshit that they put out there to try and influence young minds to get them to vote however they want to vote. And then it results in them getting so passionate and mad about it that some poor lost 20-something-year-old soul thinks they need to do this and they're standing up for what's right. What's right is never going to be killing someone that's not hurting somebody or their property. That's never going to be what's right. I don't care what country you live in, what world you're from. It's never going to be right to do what happened. There is a difference between hate speech and threatening speech and speech that you don't like and threatens your ego and your beliefs. Big difference. I hope at some point we can start that. You want to talk about something that needs to go trend and go viral? There's a difference between hate speech and speech that you hate. That needs to trend and go viral. All right. We are talking fishing. This is my job to do this. I know I've deprived you guys of the fishing stuff that you've come to know this channel for far too long. We did one video last week, but before that, it's been quite some time. So Somebody was saying the volume kept going up and down, getting louder than quiet. No, hey, that wasn't the volume. It was Facebook was trying to adjust to my volume because it got a little loud and intense in here. So it is what it is. It is what it is, man. So, like I said earlier, if you guys don't know, if there's anybody doing here, man, we do fishing content for the most part. I fish for a little while. I take people fishing for a living. I'm a fishing guide at world famous Lake Fork, Great Bass Lake. We've got the biggest bass fishing tournament of the year coming up. This is the industry that I operate in. This is what I do. So we are going to talk fishing. As much as I feel it's somewhat inappropriate to talk fishing this week, I really do. That's why I titled this video what I did on YouTube. I said, political unrest while all the biggest bass fishing tournaments going on. The reality is most people in this country are going to just keep going to their kids' ball games, and they're going to keep going to their fishing tournaments. And that's why we don't have change. And that's why this is allowed to slide as long as it is. People aren't willing to sacrifice how good their life is. The reality is we are so spoiled in America that all this bad stuff can be happening, and we're still going to go bass fishing this weekend. That's what we're going to do. So much excess in this country. All right. Moving on, before I say something I regret because I didn't think through it before I said it because I'm a little emotional about all this. So, biggest tournament of the year coming up. Man, it is always a good time to come to Lake Fork. The Sealy Big Bass Splash, Sealy Outdoors. Bob Sealy has passed away before last year's event. I think last year, correct me if I'm wrong, was last year the first year we had it without Bob, because Bob Sealy's been putting on these events for forever. Then he passed away. I mean, he lived a long time, lived a great life. Great dude in the fishing industry. He will be remembered probably for sure for my lifetime. I mean, I hope he's remembered forever. Bob was a fun-loving guy, put on great events, certainly has given a lot of amateur anglers a great chance to win a lot of money. That is one thing about Sealy Outdoors Big Bass Place. They provide an opportunity for you guys to fish for the same type of prizes that the pros fish for. Same type of money. So it's just a phenomenal event that I've loved. I fished it. I didn't like fishing tournaments on Lake Fork before I guided because I hated the slot limit deal where you go catch 5 and 6 pounders and get beat by 2 pounders. I hated that. Hated it with a passion. I fished the Sealy because I liked so much how they ran the tournament. I really enjoyed how they ran the tournament. So hope you guys get to enjoy a good event. I know, knowing the Sealys, I don't know. I would be willing to bet that there's going to be some touching moments and some very heartfelt, respectful moments some point in that event's proceedings this weekend with everything that's going on in this country. I know how they usually do things, and I know that's how Bob would do it. I'm sure they will do that in his memory because that's how he would do them. So, bass fishing wise, man, it's a little bit funky right now. Mike McFarland's supposed to be in here any minute now. He's going to jump on with us. It's kind of hit or miss at times. It's a little inconsistent day to day. A lot of shallow fishing right now. Turnover, is it happening? There's guides that are arguing. Me and some of my friends are like, don't agree with what's happening with the turnover right now. So, by the way, when I'm looking at the camera, I'll say this one more time. I won't say it again. I got Facebook over here. Hi, Facebook. I got YouTube over here. Hi, YouTube. So if I'm looking back and forth, that's what's going on. I think turnover is pretty much done. Like, it has gotten hot. I did have one buddy tell me that they saw some thermocline reestablished out on the main lake over the weekend. It's not going to be a hard one. It's really deep. What they saw was really deep. So it's not going to be a real hard thermocline set in. If there's not a hard thermocline, there won't be a hard turnover. So even if it starts to turn during this tournament, it's not really going to be a big significant way. And I do think that we've been seeing little mini turnovers still lingering on. I've seen some signs of that. Basically what I see is somebody said, what, guide's not agreeing, say it ain't so. Yeah, right, for sure. What I see is like if somebody runs their boat down the boat road or runs their boat somewhere near where you're fishing, you'll see some bubbles with some brown tint to it that just stay there for a long, way longer than normal. That's a sign of low oxygen for sure. And it's a sign of some dirty water at the surface, a little bit of stain at the surface. It is a sign of low oxygen, which is normal. I mean, we're in September, guys. We're in the time of year where the lake turns over to some degree every year. There's going to be, this is the lowest oxygen time of the year for the fish, the end of summer, right before you get to fall. That will never change. That will be the case every single year at Lake Fork or any lake around this region. So that is why, and I tell you all this because that is what is affecting these fish in certain kinds of ways, in my opinion. Like, these fish have the lowest oxygen content they have throughout the year. They don't, I mean, look, dog, if my fat butt climbed to the top of a mountain in Colorado, I wouldn't really feel like eating a whole lot either. Like, if I go out in some swamp where it's humid and it's 110 degrees down in South Louisiana and I've been working in the swamp for a few hours outside, I'm probably not fixing to eat a big old meal. Okay, so it does slow down some of the activity levels and feeding aspects of the fish. That's why every year at Sea Leagues, like, you usually will see some of these really light overs that are really long, skinny fish that are thin. They're just not eating as good because how they feel. They just can't breathe as good and not getting oxygen. So you guys can understand that. That being said, it's not like just dead, terrible bite because of the turnover. It's not like that at all. It is little windows and little stretches that are pretty good. And then there's stretches of not any good at all. So you can go a long time without a bite right now, but usually when you get a bite, you get more than one because they're trying to get to that fall deal. The best activity levels and the best bites that I'm seeing are very shallow. I've heard some guys catching them on docks and some mid-depth stuff like that. I'm sure somebody's going to catch a couple big ones on a tree somewhere live scoping during this tournament. That's going to happen. That you can do that any day of the year at Lake Fork, obviously. The most consistent bite, most consistent activity level is very shallow right now, and it's around grass because what does grass do? Oxygenates the water, right? Like the underwater grass, the coontail hydrilla type grass, puts more oxygen in the water. So for that reason, when you get to the low oxygen time of year, I think that's when that grass kind of becomes the most important of any other time of year. So that's what I'm focusing on personally. That's where we're catching fish. We're catching a variety of sizes. That's normal this time of year to get the bigs and the smalls mixed up. You're going to go through and catch more small fish than you are bigs. You're going to catch a lot of numbers of smaller fish this time of year, always the case. And then a random big one's going to show up, and that big one can be a 4 or 5 pounder, and that big one can be 8, 9, 10 pounder. Like, you don't know what size fish you're going to catch from time to time right now. So that's just kind of how we're doing it. Tons of little bait showing up shallow. Again, this is a very predictable pattern that happens year after year after year on Fork. Okay, so you can expect this to happen next September and September after. Like, it always happens. And sometimes it's a little later. Sometimes it happens right after Sea Leagues. But always around September into early October, this pattern emerges where you can catch fish that are focused on smaller bait fish for the most part. What's a little bit unique this year, don't always see this, there is some bigger bait fish up there shallow too already, which is pretty odd. And I think that has to do with the fact that our water temps actually got, especially the shallow water, got into the mid-70-ish range on the last cold spell we had. We had a couple of cooler spells with really cooler nights, stuff like that. And some of those shallow water temps got like 76-ish. So when that was happening, it appears to me that some bigger shad moved up shallow. And for that reason, you don't have to just imitate the smaller bait fish. I think it's the way to get the most bites, but you can get some bites throwing bigger profile shad imitating things. Let's get into what baits to throw. So a little swim bait is phenomenal right now. A fluke has been really good. The swim bait was probably the best bait today. Caught a couple on the fluke, but the swim bait was probably a little like 3.5, 4-inch swim bait, little like 3 small swim bait. Was probably the best deal for me today. At the end of last week, flukes were kind of the breadwinner. Also, this is also a deal usually that happens a little later in the fall, like just that, like early October is when this usually kicks in. A little like 7-inch Texas rig worm bite, like just a little 7-inch ribbon tail worm, or if you like a baby brush hog or something like that, that can work as well. Just a little 1/4 ounce Texas rig with a 7-inch plastic. That stuff is good. Mike just dropped into the waiting room. Mike, I see that you're sideways. See if you can figure out how to fix that, and I'll bring you in, brother. There you go. Just turn the phone. That works. Y'all can't see what I'm seeing. So Mike McFarland's got a couple more baits. Top waters. If I forget where I'm at, remind me, top waters. Gonna bring Mike in here. You guys on YouTube will see Mike. You guys on Facebook will hear Mike. You won't see him. Mike, get a mic check.
What do you say, my man?
There he is. If you're on Facebook and you hear Mike McFarland, let me know. Mike, rattle off a couple things for us. How's it going?
What do you say, Big Best Killer?
I don't know about that. But,
We're doing good. We're doing good. I wish I could have it turned sideways because then I got a mount and I could be hands-free, but I think I'm going to just lean it up against my – is that too bright in the background right there?
We ain't that particular around here. You know that.
All right, good. Well, I'm in the studio like everybody's familiar with seeing me, so.
Yeah. For those on Facebook.
It's cool.
Yeah, they're hearing you because somebody says, my boy Mike. There we go. Yes, sir. Okay, so we got good audio on Facebook, so we're good to go. Man, I was just getting into the baits. We'll backtrack here in a minute. Let me finish the baits that I was going to talk about. Then you can talk about some baits, and then we'll backtrack and see if we're meshed up on what's going on in the water column. So, yeah, little swim baits, or you can upsize, go fewer bites, and catch a little bigger fish because there is some big shad up shallow. Mike, you told me that this morning, and then today I saw 5-inch, like juvenile gizzard-looking shad porpoising and getting chased. I saw that today. So it was a kind of eye-opener. Good on you for telling me to look out for that, and then sure enough saw it right with my own eyes. So, anyways, little swim baits. Oh, little spinner baits. Didn't mention that. Spinner baits with little willow blades, little 1/4 ounce, 3/8 ounce white spinner baits. That same thing as a little swim bait. Those bites are one and the same. You can go either or. I like the little swim baits better because they work through the grass better. Flukes have been really good for me. And then the Texas rig worm, told you about that. Okay, the other thing is, and I got to give credit to Mike for this too, a little bit of topwater bite, but it's the bladed stuff. Mike, you're spot on that this morning. The bladed stuff, the whopper plopper, the buzz bait, and it seems to be in a shad replicating deal. And chartreuse is a key right now. Like the chartreuse and white with a little chartreuse dip and dye on a swim bait, whatever. Like, or you can find the whopper ploppers that have little chartreuse stripe on it, or of course chartreuse and white buzz baits. Mike clued me into that this morning, and sure enough, it worked this morning. So we saw each other at the ramp and had a little discussion. He hooked the brother up, as you say. So that wraps up my baits, Mike. I think we're going to be on the same page as baits. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, thank you for all the kudos. The dog finds a bone every now and then, and I definitely want to be as humble as I can, but that's what I had learned the last 3 to 5 days of fishing the lake. And, it's still very junk fishy. I would be very bait. It may move towards, a different, but they're not going to change their location. That's what I want you to remember. They move around a little bit unless you're fishing dogfish. But right now, you just, again, keep the boat full for junk fishing and let the fish tell you what they want. But do just exactly what Billy was saying is working. Today was the first day of 5-4 now for me that I actually got a really good patterned Texas rig worm bite. And uniquely enough, it was the power worm that I just showed on Billy's eye last time we filmed. Max
I haven't seen that video yet. That video comes out Wednesday.
Cool. Well, let's see it Wednesday. And today, man, I threw other worms where we were fishing. That worm outfished it. There's no doubt. And here's the key. You got that traditional bonk, swim off with it. I'm eating it kind of deal. So I was really happy with that. It wasn't like an awesome, beat when someone said, did you wear them out? No, we didn't wear them out. We caught them good. And we caught the right fish. And I think most of the unders that we did catch were not winners, but check cashers. And, so that's important. You're going to get a potential for a winner and that type of thing. So, yes, look for in it, whether it's a horny toad by itself here and chartreuse, those tails. The buzz bait, again, was hammered one day and then so the next. The popper can catch them, but just go fishing and let the fish tell you what?
Yeah.
Here's a unique thing I do like, and I'm kind of already done because it sounds like Billy's dialed in. Or we dialed in together. There's no I in team. When I'm shallow, I just saw Jason Christie talk a video about in the fall, it's shad, 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 shad. He doesn't worry about crawfish colors or brim colors and things. So our bass are a little different. But when I'm throwing those reaction baits, top waters, spinner baits, crank baits, chowder baits, shad are my colors. When I go off the shore, it's just a one simple worm. It's a Texas rig worm and the purple, purple plum or a purple or blue flag.
Yeah,
and I like that. I don't have to have all that versatile offshore. So
real quick on the Texas rig stuff, like I'm catching Texas rig fish up shallow where we're catching the shad chasers, but it is the red, like the plum, like I said, plum apple, red shad, something reddish, purplish type color. That does seem to be a key because I picked like a black and blue, green pumpkin, red flake laminate worm up and was fishing that, messing around while my customers were throwing the red one a week or two ago. And I got 0 bites, and they were catching them fine. So it's that reddish color seems to be a thing.
it does. It could even be tomato. Like if I use tomato right now, I would want some purple fleck in my tomato. But that's the thought. They're there. Know that if you're not catching fish, it's not that you're in the wrong area or anything. You just probably not don't. You gotta just move around. Your baits, not so much you. You're not going to have room to move around anyways with 1,200 boats. So I did also notice some fish in like 4 to 5 foot on wood, a lot. So if you'll just drop shot and pitch the little stumps that you can see in the shallows, you'll probably catch fish. I didn't do that, but I know there's fish on wood. One of my buddies loves to pitch the wood, and he said he had a great day with the high school kids. I think they got 20th place or something like that, and all the kids did was throw bigger dippers and go to flipping wood. And that flipping that wood with just drop shot, smaller downsized red worms, it saved their day. So keep that in mind.
Yeah.
And the other thing I want to really briefly touch on is I don't want to talk in any depth about thermoclines or anything like that. But I want you to recognize that the lake is in, just like Billy and I talked in our first show, 90% of the lake is in fabulous shape. And here's the thing, if you're seeing a little bit of yellow bubbles, it's so minimal right now, it's not harming anything. I've been fishing the whole entire west side this week. There's not any of my fishing line that's yellow or orange. None. There's no.
In the beginning it is a low oxygen time of year, regardless of how hard the turnover is. This is going to be a low, and so like when a boat goes by, yes, you'll see bubbles with some brown tint because there has been some turnover happening a little bit here and there. And those bubbles will stay for a long time because we're at a low oxygen time of year. And that affects how we fish because it is low oxygen. And that's kind of led me into my other talking point. I'll let you elaborate on this one if you want to. But like what I was saying is for right now, yes, they're fishing mid-depth. Yes, you can go out and scope a giant on a tree. That is going to happen this weekend for somebody. But the most consistent activity levels, the most consistent catch rates are coming very shallow because of that grass and the oxygen it provides in a low oxygen time of year.
You couldn't have said it better. That's it, exactly it in a nutshell. So look deeper in the water. If you're around some yellow bubbles, don't go, God, we got to go. It's bad. Look deeper in the tone of your water. Does that tone go 2-3 feet? Not the yellow bubbles, the tone. Is it nasty underneath? Is it clear? Look, it's beautiful clear, man. I've seen a couple areas that have been minimum, and I'll share them with you. Pinson doesn't look as good as it could right now. I don't know why. I think it's sheltered from all winds. No, there's never a sort of north or south blow, but it definitely, I won't say that it's unfishable, but it's if you think you're in some bad water, just move because 90% of the lake is awesome. I'm loving it. Here's the deal. Over the last 3 days, I think I've averaged about 15 fish a day, 12 to 15 fish a day, so 24 bites a day. They're bigger fish offshore, consistently. The slots doesn't do you any good in this tournament. Yeah. Fish where the unders are, and you're going to strike a lucky over. They're there. I mean, that's the key.
Yeah, and I just know, this timing of this, that what's going on, and some of the fish we've caught the last few weeks, like it's very possible to catch an over in the dirt right now. Always has When all those little bait fish run to the bank, they get really shallow, and the fish start showing some activity where you can visually see them chase them from time to time in little spurts and windows. When that's happening, yes, most of the fish you're going to catch up there a little, and then you're going to catch a 9-pounder. Like, it's going to happen. Like, it's part of the deal.
They're in it
every year. Every year that happens. So.
I just learned that, you have so much more strength in the shallow water than I do. But remember the picture last year, I take August off. I went right to work. My first day, I went to a dock up there on Ronnie Parker Strip. My first pitch was a 9.5-pound over that almost would have won the whole dang thing last year. And that's twice that's happened to me now. The docks are the one time of year that I will focus more on the docks. And look, they're either in between roaming and you're throwing reaction baits, or they're home on the docks and you're pitching and flipping creature baits. Either way, you got fish. And then that's the 1-2 punch that you got to dial in on a daily basis.
Yep, and that is the kind of, as far as like how to cover water or how to stay or when you stay and go, that's always a big question you get. Man, it's like if you're seeing bait fish presence and sporadic activity of feeding on them, in this tournament with as crowded as it'll be, you might want to just sit tight. Even if you're not catching them, try to figure out different ways to catch them, try different baits, whatever it may. But be patient in those areas where you see a lot. Like, guys, you will see these little shed around your boat. Like, when you get in the right areas, there's tons of them, and you'll go through patches of them from time to time. You'll see them around your boat. When you're seeing that and a little bit of activity, surface activity level around you, man, you're in the right type of spot. It's a matter of, is it going down aggressive enough where you can catch them right now? Or have you figured out the right bait to throw to get them to trigger? So don't run yourself out of an area that's loaded with bait too quick just because you didn't get a bite. Basically, I say all that just to say the last part. So.
I definitely do like to downsize, and I think a lot of it has to do with our lower water temperature. We're 84, 85 for the highs of the day. Just less than 5 days ago, we were 81, 82. It's not like the Texas two-step we talk in the winter. There's a little back 4 degrees. Those fish really feel that cold, and they're one warm trend, needing warm trend. Right now, we cool back down and warm back up. It's not as influential. Those fish don't care. 82, 85 is not too hot of water for those happy bass. They're going to eat. The ones, I'll tell you what, I set the hook twice today on what I call them thumpers. Man, you just get your line literally just bam, and it's slack, it's gone. And you got to wind too, because that sucker said mine and I'm out. And I set that hook, and that fish was going the other way so much. I would have sworn I had a 7-8 pounder until it jumped and went, hey, there's that fork monster, that little 4-pounder that always makes us go, net. Oh, never mind. Yeah. And I'm seeing that, man. If the lake was bad, those fish wouldn't be that strong. Man, they were healthy, pullers, eating, hungry. So I liked it. That's, does a 4-pounder do anything? You're also on 2-pounders, and you could easily have a 10-pounder. In fall is with the best. Most time that you'll have a mix of all the best. You can have a dink with a giant.
The species even mix some in the fall. You'll catch catfish and crappie and whatever right there sometimes with your bass.
Day. Here, this little Fritz side 5, and my client was catching yellow bass in 2 foot of water off of docks. I got to make you laugh. We came around the corner, and his buddy hooks into something and says, I got one. It's weird. It ain't red. Like you make your sandwiches, big bag of bread. Oh, dang. So pull that thing in. Well, about 4 minutes later, maybe 4 casts later, his buddy makes us roll in the boat. You had to be there. It was one of those dun-dun-dun-duns, but just the timing and everything was like, oh, God, kid, I got to share that. Yeah, we caught a bag of bread.
Yeah, that is pretty good. That is pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. I like that. One of the, I think you're in here yet, but it's really unique right now because we're sitting here talking about the possibility of catching a big one right next to a little one, both eating the small bait. But I think, like those bigger shad, some of those bigger shad are up shallow already, that is out of the ordinary. And I think, our last cold spell, we had two pretty good hard cold spells back to back there. And some of that shallow water got all the way down to like 76.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that. That's when I was in Colorado on my vacation. Yep.
The point is, I think that getting there, because when you get in the mid 70s, that's when the bigger shad show up in the shallows, and you really catch them.
That's fall.
Well, I think
that's fall water.
That's what brought, into the shallow water, I think. But what it's created is this really unique thing where now I can go shallow and I can catch me a couple overs, check cashers, right? Or a couple unders, check cashers, only 2.5 pound fish in the well. Now I don't have to sit there and keep catching little ones and hope for a big one, because there is some big shad present up shallow. I can now target a bigger fish with a bigger swim bait, a 4, 5, 6 inch swim. You can go that route, or even a bigger fluke. Use the big impact shad, for the bigger fluke. So you can actually, managing the slot in the tournament, you can actually get your money fish out of the way and then try to target a winning fish. That is unique to this year. That's not always the case.
Not for this one. It was that way for October, usually for the Berkeley, when I'm catching those. I've never seen them eating them now, so I contributed exactly. I don't contribute it. I back it up. I back you up. That's exactly what's happened. We already broke thermoclines back, and maybe we have some deep, super deep ones established. Those are irrelevant, because when they do break, there's so much water for them to be weird. To be 79 degrees at the end of August for water temperature says it all. So,
does it feel like to you? Maybe I'm just not remembering correctly. It feels like to me like it's like hard turnover. And what I mean is, like, you've seen this, Mike, I've seen this, where, like, dude, when you drive over the 515 West Bridge, you see debris floating on the surface, and it is brown. Yeah. We have not seen that in a long time. I think we tend to get enough rain in the summer that it kind of cools the water off and creates those little mini turnovers. It's been a long time since we've seen a hard one.
It has been, especially with the low lake conditions, in mind to teach and convey. Number one, what I know what biology is. I bounce off of Jake. We all do as guides. I mean, it's. I've experienced it, seen it. I'm not trying to be arrogant, but there's a second reason why I want to push. What I don't want people to think that the lake, because then what happens is you get 4, 5, 6 weeks of shitty fishing, and people don't want to come here. I'm begging everybody to understand that is not the case this year. I don't want the public to think, oh man, Lake Fork's all screwed up with the turnover. Let's not go there for 4 weeks. That's my main focus, is to be not just be up to 90% of it is positive. It's not going to turn south. It doesn't, go back and forth. We don't rebuild a thermocline and then have a hard turn. Here's what a quick analogy is. You get Billy just said it, early mini turnover. So instead of 3 months of a stratified thermocline with 3 days, all that shit comes up and it's horrible and the oxygen levels are the worst they've ever been. No, we had 6 weeks, 3 weeks, broken thermocline, 3 more weeks, broken thermocline. It happened 3 or 4 times last summer. It happened 3 or 4 times this summer.
Yeah. I'm
experiencing it. I log it. I have every damn temperature every day logged down. I witness it firsthand. It's biology. So just saying, we're not past it. We're still going to have some turnover. I love what I heard you say in the beginning, Billy. There's still oxygen issues. You're damn right there is. But it's not detrimental.
Right.
Don't be afraid to come fish fork. Don't tell your buddies, yeah, the fork screwed up and turned over, man. I'm so messed up. I don't want to go there. You're going to miss out. And I don't want you to miss out. If we get cold, that's the only variable now.
Well,
for me, I don't give a darn about, I don't want to say turnover. I'm not going to say the word anymore. But if we get cold too fast, I remember a few years ago, we had a 20-degree swing in 10 days. We went from 74 to 54 in 10 days. That hurt, and you won't recover it. Almost winter or something like that. So hopefully we just kind of taper our temperature now, and we're going to have a great September. Awesome. November will be some of the best, what I call shad fishing. I mean, the most consistent. This bite just gets better and better and better. So, last November, this guy right here is all I threw. And I averaged 15 to 25 fish every time I fished, just a half day. Just half days.
You said the water getting real cold and kind of wintering the fish, and I started smiling. And, you know,
I know you do. You like it. I don't.
Weird like that. Like, dude, and I think I kind of got a reputation for years, but like, you know, Mike, you'll back me up on this. Usually, I
will back it up. Yeah. And sometimes even earlier than that. So I don't know.
I like the cold, like,
yep. I get lucky. I'll get lucky every now and then, but I don't. I just I don't get it. I don't get it. Water. So I do that to me. And I understand some of the big bass, they're so big and they're so mature and everything. It's kind of like you and I. You can run out on your front porch with your wiener hanging out in the morning and it's 32 degrees and but your little boy's going, oh my gosh, I'm freezing cold. You know, those big fish, they don't give a damn. If you're fishing where they want to eat something, you're going to get bit. And how he finds them. And that's, I think, the most unique part about it.
You know, I think what it is, like, man, I know, you know, around here, football is a big influence on people. They have kids that play football, family plays football. Everybody does football around here to some degree or another. Most people do. Hunting is a huge influence. Duck hunting and deer hunting, all that's going on November, December. I honestly think that I just spend more time on the water than most people. Like, over the years, like, even before I was guiding, because all I did was bass fish, I think I just spent more time. So I think that has a lot to do with it. But I do think we're set up for a phenomenal fall bite. There's no doubt about it. But I think October is going to be just a lights out month for us. There's another cold front coming, like, in a week or 10 days from now, or it's supposed to be coming. Like, that's going to really push it into the fall bite right now before we even end September. And then October should just be lights out the entire month. November should be lights out the entire month. It doesn't usually get too cold until maybe sometimes the very end of November for the fall bite to really go away. Usually Thanksgiving is like Thanksgiving is usually really good fishing. And so if it happens a little early, it may happen right at the end of November, unless something extreme happens. So I think you got 2 months ahead of us right now, really hard cold front. And usually that doesn't really happen, like where you get the negative cold front effect. That doesn't usually happen until end of October or really November. So I had a guy asking about booking a trip in mid-November earlier. I said,
I love it.
Great. I said, it's phenomenal. I said, the only bad thing is when you get to November, if you get on the backside of a really hard cold front, that day is going to suck. Other than that, it's lights out good most of the time. I mean, you can – if you cover water, usually in October, November, that fall feed, you will collide with 2 or 3 groups of fish that make your whole day.
Gorging, they're fat, they're hungry, they're healthy, they're easy to catch. That's what I like about it. And here's my most favorite part about it. At least last November, I never saw another guide or another person on the lake. They're hunting. Wow. They're all hunting. Man, I got almost every hole that I find fish on is all to myself. Everybody's hunting, and that's cool. Hunt away. I'm going to catch the best.
Start bringing some comments in. If you guys want to ask some questions in the comments, fire away. On YouTube, I'll bring them on the screen. On Facebook, we'll just answer them. But, yeah, he said Jeffrey Witt said he's going to be there at the end of the month, beginning of October. Hey, it should be some absolutely really, really good fishing. Like, the shallows are so close to busting open and just being go chunking line and catch all you want. Like that should be really good, really good.
Remember that, you know, in this tournament, there's a little, sometimes it'll funky it up a little bit, but you just got to let them recover. You got to find new fish, fresh fish after the fact. I know we're talking for this tournament, but I still, since we were talking October, November and things, you know, like Billy said, you know, you're going to have a day right after a cold front. Don't expect to catch them like you would the rest of it. After that, if you're coming to fun fish, you may not see what we're talking about. But in general, that fall fishing for me has been, now I'm not going to tell you I'm catching the big 8s, 9s, and 10 pounders like I do in spring, but my consistency and the simplicity of the bite is what I like. It just stays the same. I've been here 12 years and I cannot name you too many bites that stay for 2 full weeks, let alone 4 full weeks. In about mid-October, I'll get on this bite for 4 weeks if the cool temperatures don't go too fast. So yeah, that's nice. I mean, I remember pulling in when I was young and I'd fish a tournament or something real young, like 17, 18. And you'd see everybody tying up all their stuff, you know, 8, 10, 12 rods, whatever. Then you'd see the one guy that's got 2 rods. And you learn real quick the one guy that's only got 2 rods on the deck of his boat is on him. He's the one you got to worry about, man. Yeah. He's only got 2 baits. If you only got 1 bait tied on the deck of your boat, you're catching them.
Yeah, no doubt, man.
It's so easy and nice. I like it.
Yeah. Well, Mike, man, hey, for those of y'all on YouTube, if we're having audio issues, I just saw some comments up higher that said we're having a hard time hearing us. If we're lagging or having audio issues on YouTube, please let me know in the comments. I apologize for that. I'm very low budget redneck operation over here that is not technically inclined to fix any of that. So I don't know what I'm going to do about it, but I would like to know for whatever it's worth. Man, I don't know really what else there is to cover. I think we've covered it pretty well. Oh, I don't know how we didn't do this in the beginning of the video. The Fish Life app.
Yes. Oh, thank you.
Dude, we've both been doing so much work on the Fish Life app. It's been phenomenal. Like, there's so much good stuff on there. Tell them about it.
Bro, I just took a look at it myself, and I've got March, April, May, June, July, 5 months. I took August off, but I got 5 months worth of big fish waypoints that you can go see where I've been catching those fish for 5 months. It tells a total history. And then I did something for you. I went and put 3 specific key areas on the east side and 3 specific key areas on the west side of exactly what Billy and I have been talking about, exactly these areas that we're throwing these baits that we're catching the fish on right now. In fact, if you go to those spots, you'll likely see me fishing this week there. They're on the app right now. So east side, 3 areas that really going to dial you into be where the fish are, and 3 on the west side. That's all you need. Fish Life app, McFarland's Corner. It's updated. It's hot.
Just to make it super clear for anybody that hasn't seen what Mike's talking about in the past, the Fish Life app is available on all platforms. It's Fish Life, spelled with a Y, L-Y-F-E. We each, there's lake packages on there, okay? So there's like once a month updated kind of general info. Here's what they do this month. That's on the lake packages. It's like a fishing report like you used to read online. That goes on there every month with waypoints describing the areas and what type of baits you can use in those areas. On the lake packages. Now there's guide packages, which Mike is McFarland's Corner. Mine is YLFG for your Lake Fork guide. YLFG Pro Tips is mine. What Mike has done on his is unique to everybody else's. Mike has tracked what's the minimum size on these fish, Mike?
I started with 6 and I changed to 5. 5 pounds is a mature enough fish. I just wanted mature, so 5.
Yeah. 5. So every 5-pound bass that Mike's caught since March, or his customers have caught, since put a waypoint. And there's a bunch. There's and I'm sure some of them have multiple fish caught on those waypoints. Obviously, that's going to happen. But there's like 60 or 7. There's some crazy amount of waypoints on there. So you guys can actually go track where Mike has caught all these bigger fish throughout the year. Do they have date stamps on the waypoints?
Everything. They've got dates that
the fish move throughout the year because they have a date stamp. So now you see, where's he catching big fish in March, where in April, where in May, June, July. So that's a really unique deal. And to me, one of the best learning opportunities anybody's ever put out anywhere for fishing, where you've got a full-time guide on one of the best lakes in the country, and he's putting that information out there where you can track where those big catches are coming from month to month. That's a huge deal. And then on the other side, on mine, I do it kind of like our lake report packages. It's just more current, updated. Now, I will say, just like Mike took August off, I took half of July and most of August off. So mine went a while without being updated over the summer. But now that I'm back on the water again, like I have been for a few weeks, we just updated some throughout the last couple of weeks on the YFG Pro Tips. It has some tournament-specific stuff on here. It has scoping areas where you can go catch a giant scoping. It has shallow areas where you can catch them shallow. It has some key docks that always hold fish this time of year and are currently holding fish that I've caught here recently. So, man, so much information on stuff like that you just – there's nothing like it. and I'll tell you what else. There is no other app, no other app that has the skins on the wall for the everyday user that the Fish Life app has. Even though we're regional, we're specific to this kind of area, and most of the guide stuff is specific to Fork and the surrounding lakes. And then the lake package is kind of spread throughout the region. There's nothing that has put people on fish the way the Fish Life app has. If you go back and look at the history of the Facebook page or the Instagram page back in the day or whatever, the amount of people that have caught double-digit fish, the amount of people that have won tournaments using it, the amount of people that have had their best day ever, it's just mind-boggling. I just had a guy last week email me telling me how they used it on Lake Athens to win a tournament. So, I mean, it's still doing it. Like the same thing it's been doing for all these years, it's still doing it for people. There's no
fantastic.
There's no other app that does that.
That's my favorite thing. When I was 10 years old, my dad would tells me he would take me fishing with his buddies. And he said this little 10-year-old boy would figure out how to catch the fish and then put his rods away, start helping him, my dad, and his buddies catch the fish. And that was very unique about 10-year-old boy. Well, that's Mike McFarland. That's who wants to take you fishing. I don't care about me fishing. I love to trout fish. If we go trout fishing, I'm going to trout fish. But I bass fish so much all my life, and I do have a infatuation with it, but I want to take people. I feel like if I catch bass through people, I'm even better. All right? I'm not the one working the rod. I am fishing. I'm fishing via my people. And so I love it. I love it. I love it. That's my forte. Nothing like seeing somebody, giving them information. Just like you said, that had to make you feel so good. They did it. You're not taking the accomplishment. You aren't the accomplishment. They gathered in from intel, executed, and won a tournament. Kudos.
Yeah, I definitely would say that. I mean, I still enjoy catch. And I know you do too. I mean, I still like to catch. I do still like to catch.
Oh yeah, every now and then I like it. Yeah.
I will say one of the things that made me open to the idea of starting the guide, it made me feel like I maybe should be a guide, was that before I was guiding, when I would take people fishing, I often found myself guiding them and getting just as much enjoyment out of that person catching a fish as I would if I would have caught the fish.
Ditto.
I got just a kick out of that. And that was something I did before I was getting paid. So, you know,
exactly.
I thought it might be a good fit for me because of that. I do want to answer a comment here from Facebook. Tony Shortino, this is just directly to me, Mike, but Tony Shortino says, how come you do not post actual fishing videos anymore? So what he means is like when we go on the water, we're fishing for a day, we show you our results. Here's the deal with that. So a lot of reasons, like several reasons. Certainly not the least of which is just my personal life off of the water. You know, like, Mike, you can back me up on this. The amount of time that it takes to, number one, that's a whole day. Okay. It often involves, if you're going to do it like that every week, you can't just fish the same place every week. It often involves travel. Okay. It takes the whole day of fishing. And then on top of that, the editing process for those type of videos, for me, with limited education on this stuff, is a very lengthy process as well. So I did that for a long time, and I sacrificed so much time with my family making those on the water videos. I'm not saying we won't ever get to where we do them regularly again, but when I look at my time invested, that's a day I'm not guiding, so I'm losing a little money. I don't really care so much about that, but that's a factor as well. When I look at the time that I invest, though, and the return I get on it versus the time I invest in a live stream or an instructional video, it's so much more efficient as far as the return I get to do the instructional videos and the live streams. You guys seem to enjoy it. The feedback we get on them is great. I feel like it does more. What the whole point of these is to help you guys, whether we get business on them or not. The point really is to help people. And then in the long run, we get promotion for our business and it helps us book trips. But this is so much more effective and efficient. And then on top, like I said, the very first thing was, man, I've got 3 kids. I've got a baby. I've got 2 that are playing every sport known to man and have been for a while. And I used to miss all that. And now in a few years, I haven't missed it. Okay, I haven't missed it at all. Now, I will tell you, this summer where I made absolutely no content from like the middle of June until now, basically until last week, that was me being a little bit burnt out on making content and having a full load and some complicated things happening off the water in my personal life. That's what that was. And Mike knows me well enough to know some of the stuff I've dealt with. But, man, what you guys didn't know is I was making all those videos for a lot of years, dealing with some stuff that would shut a lot of dudes down. And it finally got to me to a point where I was like, you know what? While I'm finishing this up and kind of trying to wrap this up, I need to just turn off. I'm going to go run my guide trips because that's my business. It's how I feed my family. But other than that, I'm checking out. I'm taking care of what I got to take care of to make sure my family's good. And
priorities. It's one of the reasons. Yeah. Go ahead, Tom. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're good. I was done.
I was going to say that's one of the reasons that I shoot the way I shoot. I don't film, number one, because it's not easy. I don't know how to do all the editing.
So like, people don't understand how hard it is to catch fish on camera.
And it's expensive if you don't do it yourself. It's really, really expensive if you don't do it yourself. And here's the deal. This is true testimony. Now, I'm going to back up what Billy said. We went to Falcon and filmed a couple of days. And I'm testimony to this. At the end of up in the dark, launch to daybreak, fish from light to dark, film all day, do all your cuts, your B-rolls, everything. Come back, we eat some dinner, and then me and Ronnie get to go sleep in the bed. And I got up at 1 a.m. Billy's still out there in his face in the computer editing at 1 o'clock in the morning, wiped out with what my dad used to call pee hole for eyes because he was barely holding mold with toothpicks. And he still got up the next morning. He probably slept 2 hours, and he still fished the next day, filmed the next day. A man can only do so much of that. So, with what he did for so long, give him the kudos. I know you're not dogging on him, but understand why he's not making them all the time and why I've never made them. They're hard. I like to shoot with no editing because it does 2 things. It forces me to just focus and just say what I want to say. And I don't have to go fix it. I'm telling you the truth. I don't make a blurb and have to fix it. And if it's a blurb, it's so minor, I don't care. I just don't. I like from the hip. And do like these live streams because that's what they are. I'd like to see more interaction and more questions. Would be great in the future down the road. We talk a lot, but I agree with Billy. The old days of filming, guys fishing. I'm rambling a little bit, but let me say this. I always wanted to have my own fishing show like Jimmy Houston or Bill Dance. I loved Bill Dance. He had the diagrams. Look at Mike McFarland, diagrams and all that. I'm sorry. There will never be another Bill Dance. People don't watch TV. You just don't.
We've had, some negative comments over the years, but most comments that we've gotten being bass fishing and all that, we've gotten really positive feedback, positive comments. And I'm pretty sure that I just received the biggest compliment that I've ever received as far as fishing goes, or as far as the fishing videos go. For sure, this is the best compliment I've ever received. The same guy that asked that question said, "Understood. Thanks, buddy. You were the best thing since Honey Hole All Outdoors. Thanks."
Wow.
They
were good shows, man.
My growing up in Texas, Mike, when I was a kid,
that was your guy.
That was my favorite fishing outdoor show on earth was Honey Hole. I got to fish with Bill Wilcox and film with him one time. That was a huge deal for me. It was an honor for me to get to know him and hang out with him at some of the boat shows and stuff that we've done. But to fish with him was like a huge deal for me. So that compliment is very, very, very much appreciated. And
really cool.
Hard for me to understand that somebody would consider it in the same light as that. Really is.
They were good shows, man. You worked hard. You did that. My dad always said you work hard for things. Don't come easy. You earned that. So you did. That's one thing. You put your heart, your soul. Let me back up. You just said you sacrificed time with your children for that.
Yeah, I did.
All right. That's a cost. That's a loss. Yeah. So You deserve the compliment, Billy. It's been good. It really did. So, man, it's not over. You still can do some filming and will. But, thanks to all of you that like to watch us regardless and understand what we're doing and teaching and sharing. Like I said before, I like to break my bread and share. God did not say hoard it all up. He didn't say go out there and buy every single power worm in this thing that you're catching them on. Don't tell a soul, Mike, this week. He just didn't. He said tell them about it, and I'll give you more to tell them about. That's it.
Tim Bolton asked, what about live feed for Chris, like Chris Aldane does for Bass? I'd watch that. Here's the deal. I don't have Bassmaster's budget, brother. Like, I can't make that happen. You're not getting a live feed from me on my phone. Like, the live's not going to work out. It's not going to, I tried that actually when I was making videos all the time. Especially like when we would have bedfish, I tried to start like live streaming bedfish catches because I could do that. Some of them would only take a couple minutes. Some of them take 10 minutes, whatever. So I figured we can go live on some of these bigger bedfish. That'll be cool. Never could get the live to work on the water. So that's not really a feasible possibility unless you have some pretty serious equipment in your boat on Lake Fork or any of the lakes around here, really. Any suggestions on where to stay when he comes back down there? At VRBO, I mean, brother, I don't know any of the VRBO options. There's plenty of lodging to stay at. Now, you're going to have a hard time finding a room this week for sure. But what do you think, Mike? I mean, there's a ton of lodging options. What do you suggest?
Fisherman's Cove, Burning Stump. The worst case, the Best Western in Emery's okay. I like Fisherman's Cove. They're really nice. The rooms are really, really nice. Priced right.
Fisherman's Cove is great too because it's a great atmosphere there, great rooms. It's a great location. Like, by the way, when you launch your boat, you're in one of the grassiest creeks on the lake right there.
You are, especially you're in fish. You can fish, right? You can launch your boat and start fishing.
It's a very easy ramp to launch at. Good areas to beach your boat beside the ramp, like super easy in and out. Nice.
All under camera, front to back. When you enter that thing, there's a picture taken of the front and back of your vehicle. So ain't no one going to get away with no nonsense there. Not that you got to worry about that anyways, but just the safe and security.
Yeah, Fisherman's Cove is probably at the top of the list on where to stay. It's really, really good. And there's tons of options that have been there a long time. I will say that some of the stuff on the east side, I've heard some bad reports on over the last couple of years. I'm not trying to dog anybody, but I've heard that there's been some stuff on the east side that ain't as good as it used to be. That's all I'll say about that.
I'm gonna do it. My dad said, "You ain't got nothing good to say. Don't say it at all." I told you what I have good things to say about.
Yeah,
Burning Stump, Fisherman's Cove, and the Best Western.
There you go. All right.
I do like Burning Stump. Burning Stump's not on the water, but it's right there. You're pretty close to a ramp. Burning Stump's pretty nice too, and it's well maintained, clean.
Been a while. What's up with Big Perm? Shake your head, man. So that's going to require a whole nother video, but that ain't coming. It ain't coming.
So I gotta get some rest. This is so much fun. I've already been on for an hour. I love it. I can't believe it. But I can't go too much longer.
I actually have to wrap this up if we've been on an hour because I have to take my wife and baby to dinner. So I told them I'd be done around 7, and it's 7 right now. So do need to wrap this up. We will have me and Mike's number 1 bait picks that we actually filmed a couple weeks ago before we kind of saw how everything shook out weather-wise. But I mean, I'm not backing off of my top bait. Or I mean, do you want to change anything before we go?
No, I'm still nothing, man. And no, anybody that knows me knows I'm not an arrogant guy, but I can't say something like this and not sound a little arrogant. I've already said it. We said, well, man, been fishing this lake a long time. Not saying things won't change because they do and fishing changes, but no, we're spot on right now. Spot on.
And you caught him today on that exact bait. So
I replicated. Man, it was what I want.
I just thought about this. It's funny because we filmed that video 2 weeks ago, right? Or whatever, 10 days ago, whatever it was. And you picked that bait, and that's what you caught them best on today. The bait I picked is what I caught, like my boat caught them best on today. Like, that's really funny. That's
why I don't want to sound egotistical, but I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming.
You don't
have been doing this a long time, man.
Hey, it's not that we're anything, some crazy talent or anything special. It's just the time, guys. The time. Like, if you fish Lake Fork this time of year, 10 years in a row, you're probably going to have a good idea what they're going to bite when they move shallow on Chad. Like it's good.
Hey, and there are sometimes it could have very well just as well been wrong. I think it would have landed somewhere into play of what we were discussing, but we were spot on. And here's one thing I do like. Billy and I have never taken aside and talked before we film and said, okay, let's have an outline or intro. What are you going to say? What am I going to say? We both take our own analogies of what we're seeing, what we're doing. And here's a unique thing that this has always happened from the beginning when we were at Lake Fork Trophy Lures with Ronnie Parker, we were in the marina. We mesh. And when Billy and I talk things out in mesh between shallow water, deep waters, and what the bass are doing, I promise you, it's freaking spot on. And that's not one guy's opinion. It's not two guys' opinions. It's concurrence of two guys saying, hey, what are you thinking? Where's your evaluation? And breakdowns and all that thing. And so I mean it. It's unique, and it's cool, and it's successful.
No, you're 100% right. There's never been a script around here, and there's a good reason for that, Mike. Folks, you never have to worry about anything on your Lake Fork guide being scripted. Because I'm not smart enough to remember a script. So it's never an issue. Never an issue.
I will tell you, some of my YouTubers, I got a pretty big YouTube following now, especially in the Let's Talk and all the teachings and stuff. Some of those are not scripted, but they are outlined. And you'll laugh at this because that just keeps Michael ABC. Otherwise, Michael's like a freaking kid on OCD. Michael's all over. So I outlined myself, but it's still not scripted.
I hear you, brother. I'm going to wrap it up on that, man. I got to get rolling, man. Thank you for joining us as always. Most importantly, thank all of you guys for watching. And, we're going to try to make sure we do another live next week. I'm going to do everything I can. I think we're going to start trying to get a schedule where we do a live every week. And David Ozio wanted to be here tonight. I'm sure he'll be on the next one. By the way, on the Fish Life app, check out Ozio's package and Cody Mays' package. They've all been updated. They're all good to go. Go check every one of them out. They're all working.
And they're all kicking butt, man. David's working so hard. Cody's catching fish. Everybody, I mean, it's money, money, money.
Yep. All good, brother. Appreciate you guys. We'll see y'all next time right here. Where are we going to see them, Mike?
We're going to see them on your Lake Fork Guide.
That's right. Or McFarland's Corner. Check that one out.
McFarland's Corner, whatever. It's all. Well, we'll see them here, and we're all together. But no iron team, but there's iron win, so someone go win.
That's right. Later, brother.
See ya. That was fun.
Yeah, it was good.